Hello, dear viewers. In June, Jeff Bezos called Donald Trump twice. And these weren't just friendly chats. They talked about government space contracts. Bezos deliberately decided to take advantage of the recent tensions between Trump and Elon Musk, the head of SpaceX. He saw an opportunity and began building a direct connection with Trump to push his Blue Origin project closer to major government contracts. At the same time, Dave Limp, the CEO of Blue Origin, visited the White House and met with Trump's chief of staff, Suzy's. So today, let's talk about the ways Bezos is trying to get Trump's attention and whether Blue Origin can take SpaceX's place in government contracts. Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos have been competing in the space race for a long time. Both billionaires had ambitious plans. In the 2000s, Bezos founded Blue Origin, and Musk founded SpaceX. But recent years have shown who's really in space and who's still preparing for launch. SpaceX has outpaced Blue Origin in almost everything. Falcon rockets regularly reach orbit, and reusable first stages have become routine rather than a technical marvel, significantly reducing the cost per kilogram to send cargo into space. In 2024 to 2025, Musk's company was launching rockets almost every week. Meanwhile, Blue Origin is still trying to launch its New Glenn rocket on a regular basis. As a result, SpaceX became NASA's main contractor, not just for cargo delivery, but also for missions to the ISS, the Artemis program to return humans to the Moon, and even a contract to develop a lunar lander. Blue Origin, while it does get some contracts, still remains in the shadows and has to prove its capabilities, always playing catch-up rather than competing head-to-head. It seemed that unless something extraordinary happened, the status quo would remain. But there are always reasons, dear friends, and things that can change everything. At the beginning of June, something happened that many had been waiting for, but few believed would actually occur. Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who not long ago seemed like allies, began exchanging accusations and insults. It all started when Trump unexpectedly withdrew the nomination of Jared Isaacman, a billionaire and Musk's close ally, for the position of NASA administrator. This happened just days before the Senate vote. According to the White House, the reason was Isaacman's previous ties, especially his financial support for the Democrats. Trump said the new candidate would put America first in space. Things escalated when Musk criticized Trump's tax and budget bill, calling it disgusting. In response, Trump said the government should cancel all contracts with SpaceX, claiming it would save billions of dollars. Musk didn't wait to respond, even hinting at creating a new political party, though so far it's just talk, but the possibility is growing. Most importantly, he publicly ordered SpaceX to begin winding down the Dragon program, which is closely tied to NASA. That's the very spacecraft that delivers astronauts and cargo to the ISS. This was more of a political move, a warning about possible consequences for the U.S. space program if the conflict with Trump leads to the cancellation of government contracts. Still, a vacancy appeared, at least to replace the Dragon program if it's ultimately shut down, and for further cooperation with large-scale government funding. So, Bezos decided to seize this opportunity. He's been seeking contact with the president for a long time. Over the past few months, Bezos has been actively trying to build a good relationship with Trump. White House representatives say that, to some extent, he's actually succeeded. Part of this process was Bezos's wedding in Venice, a real star-studded event where he invited Trump. Most likely, Trump won't attend, as his schedule is too tight for such a trip. But the very fact that the invitation was made is already a big plus for Bezos. He's inviting Trump to such an important event. Trump is busy fighting tariffs in the whole world, but I think he'll appreciate the gesture. By the way, the reason Trump has become more aggressive toward Musk is that he believes there are plenty of companies ready to replace SpaceX right now. The only thing left is to assure Trump that all his projects will be fulfilled. Trump wants to see a crewed mission to the Moon before his presidential term ends. The idea is to launch as soon as possible, preferably under the U.S. flag and without Musk's involvement. The question is whether Blue Origin can match SpaceX's technological capabilities. In January, the company finally did what had been expected for years. The New Glenn rocket launched successfully on its first try, proving the company can send heavy payloads into space. But there's a catch: the first stage, which was supposed to be reusable, couldn't land on the barge and was lost during re-entry. Blue Origin had planned for the spring launch campaign to include a second New Glenn flight to demonstrate frequent launches and competitiveness for government funding. But that didn't happen. The rocket wasn't launched, and only now has it been officially announced that the second launch is postponed until at least August. As a result, there's only been one successful launch, one postponed, and a long gap between them. Even now, the next launch is only planned, not guaranteed. The delay casts doubt on Bezos' ambitions, especially as SpaceX plans 170 Falcon launches this year, compared to 134 last year. So, dear friends, Trump will have to calm down. There's no doubt that SpaceX is currently far ahead in the race for government contracts. In April, the U.S. Space Force officially signed a contract with SpaceX for nearly $6 billion for 28 planned flights in the coming years. At the same time, United Launch Alliance took a smaller share, over $5 billion for 19 launches. Blue Origin received only $2 billion for 7 launches under the same program. So, in the current state, it's too early to talk about real competition. That's why Dave Limp announced it's time to scale up Blue Origin's operations. After long periods of research and development, it's time to deliver on promises. They need to launch rockets more often and optimize production. In February, the company even cut about 10% of its staff, reducing bureaucracy and expanding opportunities for those directly involved in flights. Limp doesn't just want more launches, he's passionate about delivering cargo to the moon. This year, Blue Origin plans to send its new unmanned cargo ship, Blue Moon Mark I, directly to the lunar surface for the first time. The competition is just beginning. SpaceX and Blue Origin are now negotiating with the government. Both see huge prospects in the space projects proposed by the Trump administration and the White House. The first is the Golden Dome initiative, a space shield against missiles. SpaceX would like to deploy hundreds, if not thousands, of satellites to detect threats and literally destroy missiles in space. The second major government plan is for Mars. The White House, through NASA, is proposing projects to explore and prepare for life on the Red Planet. SpaceX already has an advantage here. Their Starship demonstrates the ability to transport cargo and people, and NASA is considering launches for 2026. However, there are some doubts, as Starship recently exploded during static fire tests. We wrote about this on our Telegram channel, where we actively post statements from various interesting politicians, current news, and translate them using artificial intelligence. The link is in the video description. In his inaugural speech, Trump said, "We will send Americans to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars." A real slogan for space expansion. But who knew the alliance with Musk would fall apart? Dear friends, as for Bezos, Trump repeatedly criticized him during his first presidential term, accusing him of using the Washington Post as a tool to discredit his administration. Trump also accused Amazon of monopoly, claiming the company gets overly favorable rates from the U.S. Postal Service, calling it a scheme that costs the state billions of dollars. He even ordered an investigation into this deal, saying Amazon profits from unprofitable prices that undermine the financial viability of the Postal Service. This year, Bezos not only settled old differences with Trump, he now almost wants to join his family. He now maintains close friendly relations with Ivanka Trump and her husband. Bezos personally intervened when the Washington Post, which he owns, considered publicly supporting Kamala Harris. In addition, Amazon bought the rights to a documentary about Melania Trump for a colossal $40 million, almost 3 times more than Disney and Paramount offered. It's worth noting that over 70% of this amount goes directly to Melania Trump. No matter how hard Bezos tries, right now, technology decides everything. If New Glenn doesn't become a reliable rocket, it will remain just an attempt, and there won't be large-scale funding, at least in the long term. SpaceX currently holds the lead and isn't going to give up its position, even despite political conflicts. That's the story. All the best to you, dear friends.